Thank you all for being here tonight. One thing I wanted to make clear is none of us tonight are here to say, let's move the house or tear down the house. We want to preserve the house and we want to talk about that. So let me just I'm going to take 4 to 5 minutes of your time and then we'll be on to talk to the mayor and some other guests tonight. But I give you sort of the background. So in 1984, the city adopted a historic preservation ordinance that allowed various properties throughout the city to be applying for and receive a historic preservation landmark status. And then in 2012, the city adopted a special permit that you could apply for if you were already designated Historic Preservation Landmark, HPL, and that would give you the ability to do various commercial uses with council approval. So in 2012, the developer bought the property and he indicated to the city and the public that he wanted to preserve the house. In fact, here's just a little excerpt from an Arizona Republic story. His lawyer, Grady Gamage, a well-noted preservationist land use attorney who said Rawlings wants to preserve the house and his preference is for very little media attention. Mr. Gamage is no longer representing the developer. In 2012, the city then filed an application over that 2.5 acres, and you can see the outline there in red, of the house and the guest house, 2.5 acres, for historic preservation landmark status. And that request has never been acted on by the city council. In fact, it's been continued many, many times. Paul Gilbert, a well-noted land use attorney who also used to work for the developer, said it's going to be continued again until October of this year. Mr. Gilbert doesn't work for him anymore. Now you can see, here's the lots, and north is kind of up and to the side. Exeter is, and I don't know if I have a pointer here. Okay, Exeter is the street running right here, and this is Rubicon, and here's Camelback Road. This is the house and the guest house, and the developer bought these 2 lots with historic homes on them, and this lot here on Exeter that had about $3 million new construction build home. So he purchased those and then he bulldozed those homes, and you can see that. I know you all drive around there quite frequently. So now they're not there anymore, but they were some months ago. He has indicated that he expects 120,000 visitors per year, which is what Taliesin West gets out in North Scottsdale, which is about 864 visitors a day based on our kind of travel summer schedules. And that's a quote from the Business Journal where the developer discusses that. So if the developer wants to use the home for more than just what you can use your homes for in Arcadia, which is a typical residential use, they need to do a couple things. They need to first gain approval from the council for this HPL zoning, right, Historic Preservation Landmark zoning. And then that allows them to apply for the special permit that allows them to get these various non-residential uses, which we'll discuss. Now, if the developer just wants to do what we thought he wanted to do at the beginning, which was preserve the house, he could apply for HP zoning, historic preservation zoning, which doesn't allow commercial uses, but it allows the home to be preserved as he's indicated he wants it to be, but he can't commercialize the property. So this is a quote from the developer saying, you know, everything you see here is about honoring the building, the way that Wright, the architect, wanted it. And we think that's preservation, and we would certainly support that. So September 15th, a couple weeks ago, they filed an application with the city. It's a new application, and it is for 6.1 acres, and I'll show you that. So that's the entire property, not just the original house and the guest house, but those 2 properties on the north and the house on Exeter, or the now vacant property on Exeter. And he asked for HP landmark designation, right? That allows the commercialization into the future. So at the same time, he filed a pre-application, or a couple weeks before, he filed a pre-application meeting with the city, and he submitted records that indicate the things that he wants to do commercially on the site if the council approves the HPL zoning. So I tell you this because I tell you that the developer has repeatedly refused to meet with us and neighbors around the site. And I tell you this only because I want you to know that the information that I'm going to give you is not something that we gathered through conversations with them, because they haven't had those. But instead, it's from the application that's sent to the city, it's submitted to the city, you can go down there yourself and get it. And these are just a couple emails. You know, Thursday the meeting was canceled by the developer. This email, again, they've repeatedly declined to meet with the neighbors, and here we wrote a letter affirmatively way back in March, and I said, I want to be very clear that we're more than happy to meet with Mr. Rawlings and his team at any time that's convenient. We're a bit confused as to why they don't want to meet with us and outline their intentions with regard to the future and the current use of the house. We'd very much like to meet, dispel any false rumors, and gain clarity on the plans. So anyhow, I tell you all that to know this is from a city submittal. So this is what they've submitted as a pre-application. I'm just going to pop out things that it indicates. They want to build, again, this is the original house and the guest house right here. They want to build a 26,766 square foot underground meeting space. And then this is the Camelback Road, this is the church, and this is the back part of the parking lot of the church. They have indicated they have 135 spaces there that they can use, but they're asking for events of 500 people, and they have never produced the parking agreement with the church to indicate what they can and can't do or how much right they have to those parking spaces. So that's very troubling. There's an amphitheater and concert venue plan for here, an outdoor amphitheater concert venue on the northern lots, and then a parking lot here off of Exeter with an entrance on Exeter, and then a bar and restaurant, and then they talk about overnight stays, and I'm not clear if those are in the guest house and the historic Wright House or where, but that's in their application, and it says, quote, overnight stays. And again, you can get this from the city if you want to verify this, and gift shop. And then those are all the Arcadia homes around the area that you know of. So some of the proposed commercial uses are paid admission. They're talking about a commercial wedding venue, sale of alcohol, 7 days of operation, open till 10, Monday through Saturday, paid events up to 500 attendees at a time, entrance off of Exeter, local residential street, and only 13% of the entire project is that home. It's more, the rest of it is an event, a bar, a restaurant, a hotel, or overnight stays, and a venue for what. And so I just ask, you know, how did this transform from, I should thank Nick Labadie from my office for the visuals, thank you. But how did this transform from a community-supported preservation attempt, right, that we all, that you all agreed and supported, to the approval of a party, a hotel, a venue, a concert venue, and it's in the middle of a premier residential neighborhood in Phoenix, so if it can happen here, my goodness, where else can't it happen in the city of Phoenix? So destroying a neighborhood under the guise of preservation is just plain shameful. And I think it's a bit frightening. So what can you do? You can have a simple message. You can contact your Phoenix City Council members, and on the way out, we'll give you a little slip of paper that gives you all those email addresses. And you can say, Arcadia supports historic preservation, HP, but not HPL, and not a special permit. Not HPL and not a special permit. There's no room for commercialization of this historic residential neighborhood. So thank you, and thank you to all the folks who have been involved. Thank you all for coming to